Hello there, everybody, and welcome to a match between Marcus and Tufftaeh in the Plunder Release tournament, which I am also participating in. These two players are in my group, so there's a group of players who either play tested either Plunder as it was being developed or the Plunder on the clients, or both. So I don't know how familiar these two are with the cards. I mean, Plunder's a large set, so I don't know how many games they necessarily got in, but they've at least seen the cards earlier than some of the cards earlier than the release or the previews. So they should have some familiarity. This is also a nice chance for me to start showing more of the Plunder cards. The trait on this board is Shy, which is like a crop rotation for one particular pile. So this time it's Maroon. Maroon is a card that trashes and draws, and it draws more if the card has more types. I don't have a real handle on Maroon. I haven't had like a super Maroon draw game too often, but certainly as like a Masquerade-esque thing. It has a lot of nice value in the opening, I think, quite often. And of course here, it can continue to sort of be draw via the Shy functionality. We have Crucible and Salvager. We've seen Crucible in another video, but you know, it does the Salvager effect only with no plus buy. And then other new cards, Swamp Shacks we've seen in a video. I mean, not that everybody watches all my videos, but First Mate is a draw to X thing / village thing. Pretty unique. Play any number of action cards with the same name, and then once you're done with all that, you draw until you have 6 cards in hand. It has some interesting effects the way it works, because like if you play a lab and draw another lab, you can then play that lab. So potentially quite a bit of plus action or draw can be gotten off of the First Mate. Then we have Longship, which is a pretty simple duration. It's a village one turn and then draw for the next turn. So it's, you know, good utility. Not like crazy strong, but obviously you can find decks that want both of those things. Then we just have, you know, King's Court. The limiting thing here is that your only plus buy is, well, that's not true. So you can get loots with Prepare. No, Prepare doesn't. What's that called? I don't remember. Anyway, there's another 3-cost event that gains loots. Yeah, so our only plus buy or gains are the gainers and then Salvager. So you kind of have to fuel your Salvagers if you want to have plus buy here. So we'll see how they deal with all that. It may be a little bit awkward. So far we've gotten Silver Maroons into Marcus buying. They both drew the Maroons turn 3, so that's nice. Marcus picks up a Blockade. We'll see what... Blockade will be nice for picking up Swamp Shacks. I do think there's going to be a bit of an issue here with trying to fuel. Like, the payload is not super good here. The engine stuff, like the draw stuff, is good, but the payload is pretty bad. So we'll see how it all pans out. I don't know if tufftaeh is thinking about a war chest. I don't think that's crazy, actually. I don't like the Longship much. at all, really. Seems pretty low value at this stage in the game. Marcus is just sort of diving into the Swamp Shack stuff right off. That seems a little weird to me. I might have gone for a second blockade, though that would be pretty heavily terminaled. But if you had drawn a blockade in this hand, it would basically be solved because you would just set aside a Swamp Shacks for the next turn. But anyway, not a huge deal. Tufftaeh gets a nice draw. I would again be thinking about a war chest. There's plenty of valuable stuff to gain here, and it is ultimately the only way to have payload. I don't love this long ship. Maybe people are thinking they're not going to build up much here, but I don't believe that. Tufftaeh definitely gonna reach cleanliness a little bit earlier here, or control maybe. Just the draw's a little better. Okay, I would still, I think, Marcus gets the war chest. I like that. I imagine tufftaeh, I don't know how you say that name, follows, but I've been thinking they would take one much earlier, and it never happened. So we'll see what he takes here. I still think it's valuable. And I mean, any of Salvage or Blockade, Swamp Shack's Longship are great gains for a while. For quite some time, even Maroon. So you're not going to have any trouble getting a good card from it. And I would probably take a second war chest on the first one if they let me. Think about it. I'd think about it. Marcus is reporting bugs from this very game. Guess he can't see the token somewhere. The blockade marker. So tufftaeh just opts for the salvager. Again, I think if you know what your money situation is going to be, I would have probably... And a salvager's fine. So tufftaeh will be able to King's Court this longship, and I think probably should. I mean, there's nothing... I don't think there's any reason to save the King's Court for the next shuffle anyway. Maybe here Marcus gets a second war chest and buys a longship. Or gets a salvager and buys a longship. Or even a second blockade would be okay. Gains first mate. Doesn't feel to me like the first mate makes sense yet. Well, I am actually pretty surprised tufftaeh didn't just play the king's court on the longship. What do you don't have that many actions to king. You don't get that much value out of it. I didn't have a problem with the king's court buy just because, of course, later on they're great. But if you're not going to king the longship when you draw it, the shuffle, then the king buy was just bad. Because, like, I mean, kinging Marauder would have been nice, but or not Marauder, Maroon. Kinging Marauder wouldn't be so great here. The Maroons would eat up the ruins. So they're going to, I think, king the longship. Which, okay, maybe not. Okay, yeah, they're going. I mean, you could prepare it, I guess, but that doesn't seem great either. Just play it. Yeah. There you go. I think tufftaeh should probably either get a blockade. I think I like blockade here. Super wish they had a war chest, but whatever. I gotta stop saying that. I get a one-track mind on these when I'm watching these games. I latch on to one thing that I think is wrong and never escape from talking about it. Blockade looks good to me though. I don't like the maroon. You just don't. I mean, the thing is, you get the blockade and it'll help you get the other stuff. I mean, the upside is tufftaeh will be very, very clean this turn. So the payload from a drawing deck here isn't that great at this point in time. It'll be okay. I mean, I don't know how much money he'll have. I mean, 9 is pretty good, so as long as you get to 9, it's okay. Because I think you buy here wants to be a 5 and a 4. So we'll see. Because you absolutely have to get a war chest. And I would probably get war chest and blockade, but maybe war chest and swamp shacks just because you have all these terminals. Hey Libby, I didn't see the message for the Hey Libby has gotten to watch a video where I repeated myself a lot of his playing. I mean, I think war chest, blockade, war chest. You could go war chest another long ship. I wouldn't double war chest right now. So you're not actually that far from that being good. Tufftaeh isn't anyway. Don't like this. This seems super bad. The 3, there's no 3 you want, so this is putting in the draw on the king's court. The balance is just not here. I didn't like that at all, to be honest. I don't really like Marcus's deck either, but I would have rather had tufftaehs for sure at the end of this last, or at the start of this last turn, and I think I would still rather have it, but I think it could be in a better spot. I mean, this is clearly you shy one of the maroons. Like, there's no question here. You just click on it. I don't know what the... That's so weird. I don't know why you wouldn't activate one of them. Guess you want to prepare it? I don't know. That seems bad. It's super confusing to me. Why you wouldn't shy one of the maroons. You could have drawn this second king. You could have drawn longship. There are like a million things now. We know on the shuffle they would have drawn 2 coppers, but still, like, not giving yourself the shot at that is very strange. The decks are not coming together here, like, at all. This turn 10. And they're not really attacking each other either with the blockades particularly. What did... Okay, prepare. I guess they'll probably salvage or something, or... We'll see what they play with the first mate. I don't know what tufftaeh is gonna do here. Like, you can prepare, but it's not that super good. So unfortunately, you're not going to have plus buy, so you're getting one thing. I would probably just buy a card. Now, your turns are suddenly looking cruddier because you didn't get a long ship down. But I think I would still just buy something. Tufftaeh still can't decide which card they want to trash. He wants to trash them. You have to it's not that hard. You can just trash copper. It'll be fine. If you really don't want to, you can trash the estate. That'll be fine too. I don't know what to say. I'm still mad about not discarding one of the Marines to shy. I don't know if I can get over that one. I don't know what to do here. I mean, you could prepare this hand, but it's like a little bit scary, right? I don't know if the last card's another King's Court. So, like, if you prepare the hand, then the Salger and the Marines are coming down, but you don't have any plus draws, so you're like... It's a bit of a scary... I don't get the King's Court. You do not have actions you want to triple. You already have 2 King's Courts that you don't have... Here you make $2. You make $2. Even if you had hit King Maroon, it wouldn't be that good. You would just be... I can't deal with it. Okay, now I'd super rather have Marcus's deck. It's not close. So this was tufftaeh had good draws too. Like, the long ships came up at the start of shuffles, paired with Maroon. Like, tufftaeh had really good draws. This is just this is obviously super unfortunate draw, but the good draws aren't that good either for the shuffle. The deck composition isn't there. You're better off here salvaging the King's Court. Yeah. Like you can at least fix the deck stuff a little bit. There you go. Yeah, you need to get those cards three or four turns ago. That's actually what the correct way to play that turn, I think, for sure. I think it's probably going to be a little bit late, but here Marcus is just going to first make the Swamp Shacks, yeah. Then he'll play the Salvage. Well, it doesn't actually, the Swamp Shacks doesn't draw more even if you play the Salvager, so you might as well play the Swamp Shacks first. Still just draws one card. I mean, you don't have to. You could prepare it also. But I don't think I would. Who gets a second war chest? This is good. I would not have salvaged that war chest. I think I would have taken it. The longship stuff is funny because like Marcus can just buy it if he wants one. And Marcus should get a pair at least of longships at some point, but I would not have salvaged the war chest. I don't think. I would have probably salvaged silver, so I could afford to buy a longship and then played the two warships. I'm not super crazy about double longship there, but it's probably okay. I guess here the not doing the shy is a little more understandable, but you probably need to try and do it. You probably need to take the like you're probably losing if you don't get the shy into another maroon as tufftaeh here. So what did tufftaeh get? A longship? I don't think Marcus. I guess Marcus can get some use out of a second King's Court. Yeah, it's okay. Marcus should win this pretty easily. This is really slow, though. in the version of this deck that runs smoothly, you have like multiple blockades gaining a lot of swamp shacks, and you're like just flying through stuff. No, I mean that takes some decent draws at the start too. I don't think it was just like a player choice stuff, but I would certainly expect more than 2 swamp shacks to have been gained by turn 13 on this board most of the time. It's really the only bit of draw here that like works nicely with King's Court, because you can at least get them to like encampments probably pretty easily. I don't know. That is a lot of cards, so should gain at least 1 blockade with this blockade. Maybe 2 swamp shacks, but maybe a second blockade. I really hate the marine gain. What's that for? To shy it, I guess. I think you're maybe you don't have action problem, but at least finally going into the blockade stuff. Took a while though. The first mate's pretty sad. I think the first mate was like maybe a reasonable game, but pretty bad, I think. It's not the worst thing ever, but not great. Kinging the blockade looked pretty good. We may have a 3-pile on curses and something, because they should be playing quite a few blockades now. IMO. I'm like terrified that tufftaeh isn't gonna activate. I think Marcus probably should gain another blockade here though. You have to take the curses at some point. You can trash them anyway. No, I don't like the salvager. I would have taken blockade for sure. You don't really need more than 1 salvager. Like you're kinging, if you king it, I don't know. Maybe you don't get to king it that much, but Marcus is going to have 11 here, so you go like, maybe buy blockade. Though I would have bought the salvager. I still would have blockaded the blockades. And you can just get whatever. 5 here doesn't matter. You're probably salvaging it. It could even be a duchy. Like, that kind of depends on whether you think lowering the duchies is better for you. Like, there's some advantage, right, to having the points in deck if it gives you like that flexibility. The first mate is unlikely to be valuable to you. So then the question is more like, are duchies being gone helpful or harmful to you? And I think answering that question is not trivial at all, so I'm not totally sure what the answer there is, but do super wish that you can also get Watchtower, you know, and then the blockade stuff just doesn't matter. Which is, I guess, what Marcus is doing here. Though still Marcus's gains are just a little low. I think you can build quite big here. But you need to use the blockades. There's a bit of a risk again that unlocks a 3 pile. Once they have Watchtower, right, they can just take the cruddy stuff and take the curses and trash them. So that doesn't change a whole lot. Or that may not work out for you if you blockade heavily. So, okay. So Marcus, or everybody has 2 King's Courts because one's in the trash. Question now is whether you, again, I don't know why they aren't just clicking the shy. Like, surely it's good to draw the cards. You can redraw the maroon. And just click the maroon. It'll draw 2 cards. Hooray. Don't know what this is about. It's so confusing. It probably doesn't matter this turn. Like, it's very unlikely that it matters, but it still feels very bad to me. I mean, it doesn't matter. It just indicates, like, why is your thought process at this spot where you don't just do it? It's more a reflection of how you're thinking than like a misplay in this particular instance. I would still probably gain another blockade. These decks showed up, but they showed up, I think like 3 or 4 turns later than they could have. But this is basically what I think the deck should look like. So in general, I would expect to have way more blockades and swamp shacks by this point. But honestly, expect to have way more of everything by this point. But I guess we're gonna king the salvager. Isn't that good? But it's okay. And I do like the blockade gain. The pace of this one may be killer for me. I don't know if I knew what I was signing up for. Actually, I did know. I just didn't. I did know. I just didn't fully consider it. Right, these salvage your third time. You either have 16. I guess you could double province. I mean, you can race down this stuff if you want. You buy another warch. I think, honestly, I think the blockades are a little better fuelers because you can king them. But maybe get a second war chest here. There's a real chance that tufftaeh has draw problems next turn. King's Court and what? This is actually not that easy of a buy. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. You don't have to worry about the blockade anytime soon, so the watchtower looks kind of not great. I don't like that much. I don't like watchtower silver. I would rather it be one card, either 5 or gold, maybe even, but probably a 5. I probably would have taken a war chest. Gold isn't crazy though. But watchtowers, like the watchtower, is probably doing absolutely nothing for you. Marcus is gonna probably mill stuff, at least some. At least Marcus does shy if Marcus has the Maroons in hand. So, I mean, Marcus' path to win here is probably lowering provinces and then being in a position to mill stuff. And then, you know, on the final turn, you do King's Court on your salvager and buy 3 or 4 provinces or something. tufftaeh's win condition is probably getting this build big enough so that tufftaeh takes like 4 true provinces and some amount of duchies or something. 3 or 4. I don't know. A little bit on the back foot. Marcus loses their, or killed their watchtower, so they have tufftaeh is drawing 4 cards, but could easily whiff on a swamp shack. Okay, they didn't. So that's nice. But again, they don't have the salvager fuel. Probably would have kinged the blockade last turn. There are 3 King's Courts in deck, I think. So there's still, but again, this is not great action payload. This never was unless you had a lot of gainers. There was no way for it to be exciting on that front. I really don't know why you wouldn't king that Swamp Shack. That's just a misplay. It's so bad. I don't know exactly what's down here. There's at least another Swamp Shack, so it's okay to have that still on top of the deck, but I don't know what the other card. Maybe a silver. I just don't understand the play order logic of not kinging the Swamp Shacks. This is all still a bit of a mess. You could have done, yeah, there is a blockade watchtower trick where you can actually do gain and play with blockade. But they didn't get the they didn't king the Swamp Shack. There's another, you could have gain and played a bunch of blockades here with watchtower. I didn't actually even know this. Well, I mean I knew it, but I didn't think of it until they reacted here. So it would have actually been quite powerful to king the Swamp Shack, draw deck, then king the blockade, gain some blockades, gain some Swamp Shacks, top deck them. Then the blockade doesn't stay out. That you top deck with, it doesn't stay out because it's not doing anything. I'm pretty sure. And then you king another blockade that you just gained, and then probably have it stay out. I have no idea why you would top deck the. Are they gonna try and do some gain and play now with King's Court Watchtower? That's fine too. It's just way worse. It'll work, but it's it's just like it's just like it will work. You can draw this stuff up. But you could have just drawn this stuff up with the Swamp Shacks super easily. You wouldn't have had to lose your war chest. Or your silvers. It was just I guess tufftaeh is realizing some of this as expressed by the UG of okay, what they want is to top deck Salvager, which I think is actually not good either. I don't even think gaining Salvager there is that good at that point. I am not into this turn. I'm into pieces of it. I mean, it's really nice that they saw the Watchtower interaction. I was totally whiffing on that. That actually helps the blockade deck out hugely here. That Watchtower does that. You could they should both be doing super heavy blockade stuff, but anyway, it's neither here nor there at this point. So 2 more actions can be tripled. And I don't really know why you would triple the salvager. It gets you double province, I guess, but that doesn't seem that good. I really want to play this kingdom. It's actually a really cool kingdom. And I wish I was playing this game. Salivating at the thought. The pace of this is so slow. All right, I can't do that. That can't be my thing I'm fixated on because that's not going to change. So we got to find our joy somewhere. We could look at art. Longship, it's fine, pretty boring. First mate, guess it's fine. I don't know. Swamp shacks, those sure are. Where I'm from, we just call those houses. Yeah, it's pretty nice, I guess. What other new art is there? Shy. What? I don't know what's going on. Shy is just like that. This lady out in the woods. I guess that's being pretty shy. Don't know. Prepare. Getting the sword ready. Tufftaeh buys two provinces and a king's court. And a king's court. This looks pretty good. It does actually look like the champion. Is it the same artist? Marcus is going to run into a problem here with not having king's courts. Probably unconnected then. So it's not impossible that another artist saw the champion art and drew someone who resembled it. I think the face is a little different. Not that there's, I mean, it's drawing, so not that there's necessarily enough physical details to distinguish. What's Marcus's situation here? It's not super good. I don't know how much they get here. Do they have 32? They miss it, right? No, it's exact. They do have 32. Okay, yeah, that was, lowering to that was pretty bad for tufftaeh. I think, oh man, I think there's a lot of stuff here. Obviously, I talked about it, so. Yeah, I don't know. that was one of the games of Dominion. Marcus takes game 1 as first player. So that at least was pretty standard. All right, now we have Buried Treasure, Landing Party, Crucible, Cabin Boy, and Rush. So Rush is an event that costs 2, gives you the buy. When you next time you get an action card this turn, you play it. Can be a bit puzzly at times, and sometimes there's nice stuff to do here. It would be probably pretty nice to do a rushed outpost at some point. We've got platinum and colonies, so there's incentive to figure out draw here. You can either do like city vault watchtower until a pile empties and then the cities are going. Expand should be really good. I think I'd probably open Crucible Silver, but Crucible Watchtower also seems totally defensible. Possibly even better. And then you're just looking to probably buy, you might take like 2 buried treasures, just have alternating turn, just have some buy. And then, city, you're looking for an expand. And then just trying to trash this junk out, buying cities and vaults, gaining watchtowers, gaining 5s with expand, crashing stuff with Crucible. Pirate can't gain platinum, right? Yeah. You might have an argument to go for the pirate if it could gain platinum. Tufftaeh has the rough Crucible draw. Just the world we're living in, though. I think I would take a silver. You don't want a lot of silvers, but certainly one or two is totally fine. Bad shuffle for Tufftaeh. At least the watchtower didn't bottom deck as well, so they can at least come up to the end of the shuffle here. I'm Marcus. I think I take a buried treasure this turn. Try and get the expand. Don't like the pirate. But maybe it's okay. Probably not bad, but I don't think I would do it. The buried treasures are definitely alright. So that's kind of a nice pirate game. I'm a little scared Tufftaeh is going to buy the buried treasure. I think from Tufftaeh's perspective, buying buried treasure here now is fine. It's just unfortunately going to activate Marcus's pirate. Ooh, we got a pirate mirror. Will Marcus try to be fancy? Ooh, draws 5. That's huge. You can buy the buried treasure and play the pirate. That's really lucky. That was actually incredibly lucky to play the watchtower there and draw 2 gobbers. That's the kind of thing you'd stack the deck for. This is rough. This is already actually pretty out of hand. Marcus's favor. With clean play anyway. Like the 3s are so bad here, because if you had 4, you could at least buy a cabin boy or a landing party, probably landing party, and just, use it as a one-shot. And maybe you get to maybe you get it back later on if you have some situation where that makes sense, but the 3s, the silvers beyond a couple are really bad, and second watchtower is pretty bad unless you already have the cities and the vaults. So there's Not a lot. I haven't played a capitalism landing party game ever, I don't think. That would be fun. But I haven't gotten to do that. This is so busted. Oh, I would have taken the expand for sure. But that's just me. Oh, I don't like the second pirate at all. I don't really like the first ones that much. They're okay though. I really dislike the second one. I mean, I get it, like, you know you're going to activate it, but at what cost? I would have gained a buried treasure as Marcus there, not a gold, but this is fine. What do you get? Do you have enough to expand the... Do you have 9? I mean, you have 8, so you just have 8. I would just buy and expand. Second Crucible is interesting. It makes sense with the estates. So Marcus has plus buy coming down and can either blow up the gold if there's like 2 expensive things, or you can just take 8 and go like city. Well, that's not so great. Maybe you do blow up the gold, so you can buy 2 5s. Like 8 isn't a great number here. Eight is only 5-3, which isn't super good. But you could just buy a 5. I guess you could rush vault. No, that only nets $1, or that doesn't net any money. City Watchtower, yeah, I can get behind that. It's probably not that great, but the Watchtower, that is. But it's fine. Here I think I just expect Marcus to tufftaeh a city with Watchtower. Trash the silver. What's tufftaeh got going on? This is nothing. I don't think this deck's ever gonna be under control. Could be wrong. Rush Outpost, that looks pretty good here. But this still, we've got to get the cities in the deck. I think you just get a buried treasure. Like, gold isn't enough to really be worth. Let's just trash a copper and play buried treasure, I think. Because you could trash 2 coppers, but another crucible at this point seems like overkill. tufftaeh still does not have expand. Watchtowers are kind of annoying. Everything is kind of annoying. I usually just play the Watchtower. There's no reason. You still have another one. You might as well play the one. See if you draw a card that's useful. May draw Crucible. I don't know why you wouldn't draw. I'm gonna be back. I have to step out. What'd I miss? First the outpost, play the pirate. City. Sorry, I didn't mean to leave for that long. Alright, so Marcus has yet another watchtower. Markets here probably you probably just play the watchtower. You could top deck city and wait. But I would honestly I would go for double city if I could get it, and that means playing the watchtower. Yeah. So I would take double city as Marcus. That gives you like a 7-3 split. It's either 6-4 or 7-3. And you also just saw them You know the cities aren't in hand, right? No, I don't. Oh, okay, they still have it. Yeah, that's good. I would not have taken yet another watchtower. I would have probably done something else, but anyway, they won the city split super big, so should be pretty easy for Marcus to wrap this game up. I do think the trashing is in tufftaeh's favor. But the draw obviously is massively in Marcus's favor. So the watchtowers are pretty bad. Like, silvers for most of them would be better because you're just drawing with city up and you don't have a way to get your hand size down right now. And maybe you can gain a vault mid-turn or something and salvage that a little bit, but I don't know. It's a hard sell for me that the past couple threes have been watchtowers for the expand plays. And I think there was even a turn where I think Marcus bought a watchtower, and I think just buying nothing was probably better. And just like for sure, this is too many. There's no magic way to make this work for tufftaeh. There's not coming back from this city split as long as Marcus can get the Crucible and expand plays within the next few turns. Just not gonna. Even if tufftaeh starts getting colonies somewhat consistently, which I don't think they're that close to being able to do. Excuse me. So oh, that's rough. And salvage a pirate, I guess. That or you can salvage the vault, I guess. Trash silver, buy silver. Why didn't they buy silver and activate the pirates? That's really bad. I mean, if you're gonna have the pirates at all, like if you don't want to activate the pirates, then obviously you crucible one of them. If you do want to activate the pirates, then you gotta buy a silver, not a watchtower. Very confusing. Very, very confusing. Sometimes these plays make it look like they don't know what the card does exactly. Really unfortunate for tufftaeh bottom deck the cities. Still remain pretty confused by the choice on the previous turn. See if tufftaeh buys an expand. Buy a couple cabin boys also wouldn't be terrible. The landing party's okay. Playing landing parties before cities seems wrong. Very confusing anyway. Maybe you decide you don't want to play the landing parties. It would have been much better to play the cities. Like if you reach a point where you don't want to keep drawing, you should just always lead with the cities. You're not going to activate the cities this turn. It's not a good play order choice. tufftaeh can buy colony here. might not be unreasonable. I don't think it'll matter, but chooses not to. I don't know what the ideas are going to be here. If you're not willing to lose some of this stuff. You can get landing parties back with pirate buried treasure interactions. That's pretty good. But you do have to have the pirates down. You can do that actually. That's not bad. I don't know what the silver, are they going to rush something? Nah. So you can do pirate, because pirate can gain buried treasure, which will play first. And you can get the landing parties back. That's another nice interaction that would have been useful to play with here. I'm not sure. They didn't really have the greatest money ever for timing of gaining the landing parties, but you could get it. I mean, once you had a draw deck, you could get it consistently too, right? You'd only have to play. I mean, it would only work until the buried treasures were gone, but as long as you played a pirate every other turn, you could keep them coming back. Now Marcus is putting together the turn, of course. It's really not that good to just toss everything. You can only do that if you have more cities in the deck, because like here there's no reason to. Marcus probably needs to top deck a landing party for this outpost turn. I would not have tossed both I wouldn't have tossed the watchtower. I would have expanded one of the watchtowers into landing party, top deck it. Play pirate, play outpost, play trash, I don't know, whatever, trash copper with crucible. I don't like this. There is another city, I think, on top, but it would be nicer to have a landing party up there as well. And again, it's like city. I mean, if you don't find the city, it's like watchtowers in maybe one city. A couple watchtowers in one city. But if you don't find them, then that's a real problem. So I'm not a fan of this turn played at the end. We may not get punished, but I guess you can still buy the watchtower. Oh, they're going for draw a little bit. That's interesting. That seems wrong. I mean, if you have a city on top, just leave it. I don't know. That didn't seem super good. You could still buy a landing party, I guess, and top deck it now. You could buy landing party and vault. Don't like. This is like working so hard to get the watchtower activation, but why? Or the city activation, but why? Like, it's totally possible for tufftaeh to get the watchtowers down and pile out. Like that would be not easy, but not crazy. There's just no reason to lower there. I think it's pretty bad. I mean, we can see tufftaeh's hands, so we know nothing's coming, but it doesn't make any sense to me. Well, they do have quite a bit of buy, right? Three buys. So if you buy Watchtower and like a couple Crucibles, you might get the draw to get it done. Well, not if you do this. Well, I guess it doesn't really affect that part of it. You got to play the outpost. You have 11. So if you go Watchtower double Crucible, if you get the, do you have enough cities? It may not have it. It may not work. Still seems terrible to me to lower. The Watchtower seems so bad. Marcus is lucky that he didn't dud. And he sort of dudded still. I guess their outpost turn was their dead turn, actually. Yeah. I'm so mad about the trashing of copper over trashing Watchtower. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's nice here. tufftaeh can do the pirate stuff. What you should do here, you play the outpost, play one pirate. Crucible the other one, buy a colony. That was bad. No, you need to Crucible the other one, I think. I mean, I guess this lets you go a little harder for... No, you need to... No. That can't be it. These are a mess. This game's a mess too. It doesn't have to be. For sure, I think the play there is Crucible, Pirate, buy colony. And then next turn you get to gain and play Buried Treasure. You get the landing parties back on top of deck. If you have a city in these next three cards, you get to draw it all and do it again. It's exciting. I mean, yeah. So I guess here you don't have to actually take a Buried Treasure because you're gonna play a treasure anyway. But it still seems maybe better, unless you think you need to buy colony, or not colony, buy province. I just don't get it. If you're not going to get province, you might as well just get all buried treasures and have a bigger turn next turn. I wonder what it says for tufftaeh. That he thinks it didn't work. Man, I don't know. What's going on here? All right. Five buys. It's a lot of buys. If tufftaeh had an expand, there would be pretty likely to be a 3 pile. Maybe not that likely, but this is again a situation where it's clearly better to play the cities first and wait and see if you want to play the landing parties. Like, you're very likely to play the landing parties, but there's absolutely no reason to just automatically play it. There's no reason to start with the landing parties. If tufftaeh can play the pirates, they can probably set up a pretty easy 3 pile on their outpost turn. Though it might not be guaranteed. But you do need a pirate, and this shuffle is huge, so it may not work all that well. But you should probably at least play towards it. So the idea is that You play the pirate, you play all these landing parties out, and then you play a pirate, you buy at least one landing party and top deck it. And then you're going to want to play the vaults before these things, but okay. I mean, it doesn't matter. So then you gain buried treasure. You have a landing party top deck. Then you gain buried treasure with the pirate. It gets to draw everything up. You basically just end up with like 4 or 5 top decked landing parties, effectively. And then you're just looking to either either you get a watchtower to activate the cities, or you start crucibling colonies and milling those and try and get like 2 colonies this turn and 3 colonies the next turn, with one of them being real each turn and then the other ones being milled. Which should be pretty doable. I think there should be I don't think it's guaranteed, but like reasonably high shot of a win from this position. We'll see if tufftaeh finds it. You can get more money here, but you really need to save at least one of the watchtowers. What? You can't just throw the outpost away. Unless they see some other finish that's... Oh no, they play the outpost. I was so confused. That was, oh, there's 3 outposts, jeez. I was super confused. This is bad though, because you need to top deck. I mean, you have a chance of making it work, but you need to keep one watchtower so that you could top deck landing parties and have that be more or less guaranteed. You can probably just empty the... You still want to top deck the landing party though. You could probably have gone watchtower, colony, landing parties on top, and then gain 2 buried treasures. Yeah, I think that probably would have worked pretty easily. I think maybe even easier than the milling of the colonies. Tufftaeh may find a line still from here. The issue now is that the 3 cards from the outpost turn are going to be, random. So if you find a city or just a city, actually, if you find a city, or if they buy more landing parties, then you have a chance of drawing it, and you can draw these landing parties, which will be on top of your deck after you gain a buried treasure and play it. But you could have just bought a cabin boy or bought a landing party and top decked it with a watchtower. That's unfortunate. Because I think there was just more or less guaranteed win. Again, maybe not strictly guaranteed, but it should have been pretty close. Maybe there would have been a buy issue. What was discarded? There might have been a buy issue. I'll admit that, because the buried treasures are stacked. So, but you would have emptied the watchtowers, so you would have got your buy back from your cities. No, I think it would have just worked. This is a real shame. They may still get it, but it's going to be on the whims of the shuffle when it didn't need to be. I mean, you can triple colony here. I guess also. But that's a little scary. That's pretty scary. We played 2 games and it's an hour and a half in. Maybe this just works as a forced win too. I mean, that's pretty easy. That's a much easier forced win, actually. Than what I. Oh, I'm so stupid. Mine was cooler though. It's so funny. I think they both messed that one up. Like a lot. So far I've been hypercritical of the play. I don't really feel that bad about it. I think they've been a little messy. Alright, so now we have a shaman board. For those who don't know, a shaman is this thing that brings cards back from the trash automatically. It's like a twist on the game. And then we have mint. Okay, so there's no draw here. You can just kind of set stuff aside with native village. Invasion is this kind of potpourri event that does a bunch of things. Gains a duchy, gain action on your deck, gain a loot, blah, blah. Anyway, if you can afford 10 here, it would be a reasonable buy, but that's going to be a little hard, maybe with buried treasure. So they both open Clerk Shaman, which seems fine. You can be pretty interested in mints at some point. You probably Charlatan. You probably get, even though mint can trash curses, and then it's just going to be a messy board. You're mostly just trying to buy the good stuff and hope for the best. Pendant might have some value. Bank might have some value. Pendant is actually a little easier sell here than Bank, I think. Though they both work pretty nicely with buried treasure. I don't really like the Corsair. I don't think you have to buy silver or gold here at all. I think there are plenty of alternatives. And I don't think the +1 card is that good. So I'm not a fan of the Corsair buy. I think there are better 5s here. We'll see if anybody goes really hard on the trashing to try and shift stuff around. Buys a native village. It's a snowy day here. So tufftaeh went with the buried treasure, which I like actually. Though I would still have. I kind of wish someone had gotten more shamans. I mean, we got a few of the shamans out and about now. Marcus might take a mint here. This will never cease being a mess. Just a question of whether you can make it your mess or not. I don't get the Corsairs. They're super confusing to me. I just don't think the one card can be that good. You could try to go for like a buried treasure bank native village super thing, but it's going to be a little hard. The buys are going to be a problem. Like how do you time it so that you play buried treasures the turn before you? Yeah, it just doesn't really work, but it would be fun if it could. Now we're in that shaman land. This is just a brutal board. It would get even worse if they started picking up charlatans too. I don't know where the balance is. You can't really tell who's thin by looking at the trash. You have to look at the score. Like tufftaeh has all the estates basically, but I don't know where the cobbers lie right now. You have to watch when they shuffle to see the deck size, I guess. People are all about the Corsairs. Like this has been a couple turns where Marcus has played the shaman, tufftaeh hasn't, which means the deck size is shifting to be in tufftaeh's side. Marcus is getting thinner. Here will be another one. Probably no one will ever be like super thin. Guess you just set aside. They drawing a card. Did they? Okay, they're drawing a card. Never mind. Then that's fine. Hmm. I do think there was maybe a turn where it would have made sense for someone to take a mint. But these hands are definitely not it. It's not clear you ever get anywhere here, really. Native Village Charlotte. I still want Charlotte. It may not ever happen, but I still want it. Just pretty good money here. The +3 is pretty good play, on play effect. And the cursing is no slouch either. I still would take a charlatan, I think. Maybe go charlatan, buried treasure, clerk. Yeah. I mean, a lot of buried treasures is fine, too. At some point, the clerk or the charlatan just looks like it's a better card than the buried treasure to me, but I don't know. It's the same money, and charlatan isn't delayed. Charlatan doesn't miss shuffles. Charlatan gives him a curse. Okay. Got a lot of new stuff here. So launch is an action or an event that it's like a Villa cavalry kind of effect. Go back to your action phase, and that gives you everything, but you can only do it once a turn. So it's not the loopy stuff like you sometimes get with Villa and cavalry, but it's a one-shot thing, and it also can sort of like, I mean, it mimics those things in the sense that it can sometimes give you resources that you need in the middle of your turn, in addition to like gain and play stuff. Seen Jeweled Egg, we've seen Pilgrim. So Wealthy Village is a basic village, but when you gain it, if you have at least three differently named treasures in play, you get a loot. So it's a decent way to get loot. Spiring is a imp or like whatever that card's called. Conclave effect, where it's plus action for stuff that you don't have in play. There is loot. I can see it. And maybe there's a display bug on your side. I don't know if you can hear me actually, but it's all for overall. I mean, it depends on your monitor and resolution and size and stuff. So I could describe where it is for me, but you see it. Anyway, so Anvil being inspiring is going to allow people to play some village or play some actions at the end of their turn. So there's not going to be a lot of good things to do with that. Maybe Island is like the only like likely one. Because Pilgrim Rabble, Wealthy Village, you'll have all played during your turn. Monkey, you will have played during your turn. So it's really only Island. Or Monkey, you will have played during your previous turn. It might activate on a Monkey at some point, I guess. It could activate on any of them. It's just unlikely to. This is not a strong board. It's a little weird, actually. I think it's going to be worth it to build the draw engine. But that's about it. So that means monkey will probably be somewhat important. It's just going to be rough. But you couldn't let somebody get all the villages and all the draw cards, because then they'll just beat you with collection in a big turn at the end, probably. That's true. That's a good point, Mr. Guy. You can do a little more with it. Still may be a little awkward for having it come up. But it wouldn't be surprising at all if it came up as where you want to use it on a terminal draw card, and then if you draw your village or another thing, you launch. And have it save your normal action from the turn. Yeah, I can see it. We'll see if it happens. The bad thing about the anvil situation, though, is like they'll probably have monkeys. So the anvils may not be that inspiring. Never mind, they're just rushing the anvils. They're anviled out of their minds. They think the islands are the best card printed, I guess. What are you gonna do with the anvils once they're gone? Gain astrolabes? I don't know. There went the islands, though. I am. Here's our first. Gonna get a use out of it from tufftaeh on this hand. Gonna get to set aside both of these coppers, I guess. Though you don't get to gain anything from anvil if you do. I guess you could gain something from the anvil and just set aside one of the coppers and one of the islands by itself. Tufftaeh didn't even do it. Oh yeah, they still have a chance to do it. Is it after you inspire? Yeah, or after you play it. Incredible. What a synergy. The thing about this direction that tufftaeh has pursued is that I don't know where you go after you're done doing it. Seems pretty uninspiring. I wonder why no one launched it ever. Guess there would have been great spots for it. I mean, I guess you could rush down the anvils and the astrolabes maybe. But surely they can score 8 points in that time. So that's a little weird. Marcus sees the whole deck and we'll get loot here. But tufftaeh did play monkey, so that's going to be a bit of a mixed bag. And it's even a doubloon, so it's kind of a terrible loot to gain there. You'd really rather have one of the plus buy loots anyway, but also activates the monkeys. All right, so tufftaeh can play not all these islands, just 2 of them. But if you island the estate and then island an island, that's pretty good. This deck is still doing mostly nothing, but I don't know. I don't really know what the pivot is going to be after doing this island stuff. You have to either find a way to empty the piles, or you have to find a way to put good cards into your deck so you can buy provinces or buy collection, you know, whatever. Pretty weird. I'm surprised they do copper there and not. If only Marcus had an anvil. Inspiring anvil. So Tiara would be nice to have because top decking village draw would be pretty nice. But the nice thing for Marcus is that drawing tufftaeh a bunch of cards isn't a huge deal because tufftaeh doesn't have anything. The deck is pretty bad. I think you're right, Bib. I didn't look through it all, but yeah, I think you're right. There might have been a play to get something off the launch. I didn't count the money either, but it must have been quite a bit of money with the doubloons and everything. There was probably a gain in play that was worth doing there. Well, I guess at the very least they could have. Oh, they did buy launch. Okay, there it is. The order of that confuses me, but that's fine. That's why I didn't see it. All right. Yeah, you could launch and play another monkey, I guess. Chooses not to. Seems like it might have been pretty good to launch to play the other monkey there. Versus buying an astrolabe. What does tufftaeh need an undo for? What is going on? What do they want an undo to? I'm so confused. Where do they want to undo to? Oh. Yeah, that's a little. I don't think it's suspicious. I mean, again, I think suspicious is not the word I would use, but certainly it was a bit of a weird undo. The other thing it does is wasn't Marcus's shuffle different? Because they shuffled, the RNG was different. They did shift the RNG seed. I think differently. So Marcus's draw changed. Just I think it got worse, but honestly, Marcus doesn't need to worry a whole lot here. I don't think the decks are comparable at all. Maybe here you go Tiara or something. Tiara launch. I would have saved the... Well, I don't know. Maybe there's another loot down there that's fine to play. Spell scroll is a little bit annoying on this monkey board. I would have definitely probably gained a tiara. Definitely, probably. I would have gained a tiara, I think, in there. This is okay, but because you really want to get some, you really want to do some of the collection stuff before, because like, I mean, tufftaeh here is going to be able to start. I think you use launch here to get a little extra action. No, I don't think you play the Wealthy Village. I think you go straight to buy phase there, use the anvils to get 3 monkeys down here. Which I guess you can still get the 3rd monkey down, so maybe it doesn't matter. This is the, I guess the orb does it for you, though it does cost you the money a little bit. You can either use the 3 in the buy. You can use the $3 from orb to play the monkey, or you can use the orb to play the monkey. I guess. Well, I mean, it changes a little bit. I don't know how. I would still be pretty surprised if Marcus didn't win, but maybe tufftaeh just takes double province here and doesn't get the last monkey and just tries to do it that way. If they do that in your Marcus, you really probably need the collections. The cheap actions are gone too, so that makes the collections a little harder of a sell. The window is a little awkward. Hmm. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a way to change stuff far enough here. Though I don't know why Anvil playing the village would matter for that. Yeah, I'm not sure it worked. But, I mean, it does let you redraw the copper or something, I guess. I think the question would be whether it would have. No, I don't think there's there, but you could lower. See if tufftaeh goes for provinces or goes for building a little bit. I feel like if I'm tufftaeh, I'm putting the pressure on the provinces. Maybe that doesn't put the pressure on because it still doesn't get you any closer to end game, really, realistically. I would have almost certainly, I think, taken the last monkey here, though. Maybe you could have gone like third monkey, double anvil province. Might have been okay, something like that. I have to go back and play the lines out. It's hard to see where the card draw would have been everywhere. The Wealthy Village didn't draw anything, so going to biphase and doing anvil, discard copper to gain something would have at least given you a shot at drawing that. So now are they going to launch to do the monkey this way? You can. This is pretty similar to what I was suggesting, though I think you get maybe an anvil gain or two extra out of doing it differently. Also, this was not guaranteed because there was an anvil in the discard pile. I don't like the estate buy much at all. We're going to get closer to the estates being realistic pile target. Marcus is just going to have to play the monkeys and buy provinces because he's got a score. Yeah, I think there was a little more you could get out of the turn for sure. Well, mostly tufftaeh was just lucky that he didn't miss the monkey when on the launch reshuffle. There are different ways to guarantee playing the monkey orb or different order with the village. So Marcus is just going to play Wealthy Village, play a couple monkeys, play Pilgrim, and top deck a Wealthy Village. It's so rough to try and do like gain and play here. It just is going to give tufftaeh the estate pile out probably if you draw too many cards. I don't know what to buy. It won't be quite an empty, but it'll get kind of close. You could have top decked a. Maybe they're going to launch. Endless Chalice was pretty bad to get here. Marcus is not scoring anything. This is just obviously not enough points, and it still draws tufftaeh so much stuff. This is going to be extremely close to a pile out, if not already there. And it should be a pile out on estates. You only need $8, so yeah, this is just in hand. You don't even have to worry about the inspiring stuff or anything. You can get an extra card draw out of playing the Wealthy Village here, but it doesn't matter. It's already in hand. This is interesting that this worked. I don't know if it should in general, but it did. I still kind of feel like there was more gain in play that Marcus could have done a couple turns to get the power up, but it's gonna be kind of tough. I think one problem is Marcus was drawing him a lot of cards, but not getting. Like, maybe you just have to resign yourself to the fact that you're going to draw them all those cards and make sure you're maximizing your payload while you do it. I don't know, though. It was a tough one to maneuver around at a certain point. Fortunately, the pace of play picked up a little bit the last couple games, so we got out of here a bit over 2 hours for the 4. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. I thought the kingdoms were pretty cool, honestly. I thought they were really interesting. So I will be playing one of these matches myself tomorrow. But thank you all for watching, and I hope to see you later.